How's it going, guys? Doing more maintenance today, and I wanted to talk about something incredibly important, and that is managing your tire wear. This is something that will save you a lot of money in the long run, and it's a lot better for your tires. And on top of it, also, it can help you identify if you have any problems with like bent axles or your tires are misaligned because the axle's sitting funny. There's all types of stuff that you can identify, especially if you keep records from doing this. So, but let's get started here. Yesterday when I was repacking my bearings on this side of the trailer, I took my tires off, obviously, and I measured the tread. And when I measured it on these tires, so this came off the rear, so what you can immediately see is on this side of the tire, I've still got grooves. On this side, I've got nothing. So when I noticed that immediately, I measured. And my measurements on this tire came out to about 5.5 30 seconds, 8 30 seconds, and 8 30 seconds. So it's wearing improperly on the outside. So I immediately was like, okay, well, where do I go with this? So I got the whole trailer up on jacks today, and I took off all the tires to measure, and here's what I got. So looking from the rear of the trailer, this is the tire I just had in hand, my left rear. So it's wearing on the outside really heavy. Along with the right front is also wearing heavy on the outside. It's actually wearing worse. It's at 5. It's at 5 30 seconds. So the reason what I was more worried about was, okay, hey, is my axle misaligned? Now, it's not misaligned because if this tire on the inside would have been worn heavy like this, it would have meant that the axle was sitting like cockeyed, crooked to the, I guess, to the left is how I'm going to look at it from the rear. But it's not, which is good. That's what I was worried about. So this is how I'm going to get the most life out of these tires. So off of the measurements I took, I'm going to rotate them in a circle. And I'm going to put the tires with the most amount of tread in the areas with the heaviest amounts of wear. You know, a lot of people say, oh, you have to do crisscross or you have to do front to back or side to side. I don't believe in that. I believe in you have to measure the tires and you have to look at where it's wearing, and you have to put the tires with the most amount of tread where it's going to wear the most. And that's kind of, guys, that's really the only way to do it. Because if you rotate, so for example, if you follow this rule of, okay, hey, I'm going to go crisscross, well, I'm going to put this tire where this one's wearing and this one where this one's wearing, and it's going to do me no good. It's just going to put me in the same problem. If you go front to back, yes, I could go front to back just fine, but I am going to actually just do a loop. Ideally, I could go front to back on this as well, but I do like to put, this is just me, kind of a weird thing, I like to move them over to the other side if possible, I guess to give them a different view of the scenery. So, but that's just what I do. I would recommend doing this, guys, at a minimum every time you pack your bearings. Ideally, you want to probably do it every like mid-pack. However many miles you choose to pack your bearings, ideally you probably want to rotate every whatever half of that is. That's probably the most ideal answer. Guys, I did forget to add something. Make sure that you run your tires at max PSI. That's super important, especially carrying heavy loads. And make sure that you check them periodically. You should be checking them on your inspections, but make sure you check PSI regularly because they will lose PSI naturally, about 1 to 2 PSI a month. And on top of that, guys, you have to account for cold weather and hot weather. The ambient air temperature affects the air pressure. So when it's colder, you need to put in more air. And when it's hotter, obviously the air expands more. So you just need to keep them. You need to keep them within the limits. You don't want them underfilled. You don't want them overfilled. So definitely, guys, super important. All right, guys, that's going to sum up the video. I know a lot of people are going to probably disagree with me and say that you should never rotate your trailer tires. But the reality is why would you not want to get the most life out of your tires? Tires are super expensive. Now, as long as you keep track of how is this tire wearing and how has it been wearing in the past, do I have a problem? That's where you need to really keep record of, okay, how is this tire wearing? Because that's how you can identify if something is wrong. And that's what's more important, is not only getting tire life, but also being able to identify problems with your axle, because we hit shit on the road. We hit big holes, we hit bad bridge joints, we hit curbs, we hit all kinds of stuff with our trailers. Definitely, and that stuff is, and when you hit stuff, it messes stuff up. So being able to keep track of how stuff is wearing is most important, but also being able to save money and get tire life is very important. So anyways, guys, if you enjoyed this video, please shoot me a like and a subscribe. If you have any comments or questions, please don't hesitate to ask. And as always, stay tuned for more hotshot content. Thanks, guys.